if you took one thing, you should go through and think about it. Of course, about caring. Some of the stuff is real insightful.
No, I like the thankful. I'm thankful you're here with me today. Thank you for doing this for me. I really do appreciate it.
You're welcome.
More than anything. Thank you.
And I appreciate it.
Mr. Wilfred Beaupre was born into a French-Canadian family in Massachusetts in 1947. He's a man of influence that by any standard would be measured as particularly a successful person. Mr. Beaupre has held several distinguished positions within the field of education, chairing the Department of Business and Computing at 2 separate colleges, as well as serving as the Dean of Business and Computing at one. A key element of his philosophy is persistence, a quality that we will try and unpack in our short time today. In October 1886, President Cleveland dedicated a statue in New York. The statue known today as the Statue of Liberty was a gift from the French, and in my eyes at least, represents the sacrifice of the French people in the gaining of the American independence from a tyrannical British crown. Our revolution was in many ways tied to the French. My first question for you today is, what does America mean to you?
What does it mean to me? It's my country. I'm happy to be here. I joined the Army in 1966, and there was drafting back then, and I joined it rather than be drafted, of course, for 3 years, and stood there until 1969 where I got out for school.
School, very smart. Okay, so it's your country. It's very important. So what do you know about your ancestors coming to America and arriving in this country?
You know, my grandparents on my mother's side came from Canada. Both of them came from Canada, and went to Chicopee Falls, Massachusetts, and lived there ever since. They had like 5 kids. They had a couple others, but they died.
Do you know of what?
Of what? Birth.
Birth, okay.
Yeah, being born.
Wow.
I guess birth, being born back in that time, in that era, wasn't really good.
Of course.
Like my mother, she was so tiny that they put her up in the stove, essentially.
Wow.
Opened the door of the stove, and they put her there to keep her warm. She was kind of like an incubator baby.
Okay.
In a sense. Real tiny, and so they put her in there and keep her warm.
So we're talking a long path of struggle. I mean, from the shores of Massachusetts to, I mean, possibly today, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so let me ask you this: as a child, we talked a little bit about your family. What was your life like as a child?
Well, I was the oldest of the 5 my mother had, and so I had to do things around the house and be responsible. Many times take care of the family, babysit, you may want to call it, or help along with the chores there.
And what are we looking at as far as ages of siblings and yourself?
My brother was 1.5 years after me.
Okay, so it's a little pretty close, but
Pretty close, but he died at age 50.
what if you don't mind me asking?
Pardon?
What if you don't mind me asking?
Why? Well, he had an aneurysm in his throat, and he actually went to the hospital for it at one time, and then it broke again. He left the hospital on his own accord, rather. Did not do well on that. Wasn't his best thinking, and over time he kept smoking and drinking, and it broke, and the aneurysm exploded, and he died of blood.
So tell me more about him as an individual. What was he like?
What was he like? Well, he was a factory worker also.
Okay.
Followed my father's footsteps, working in the United States, U.S. Royal.
U.S. Royal, what was that?
It's a tire company.
Tire company.
A tire company. He worked there and made tires, and then the plant closed. And so the whole town had an issue with the plant closing.
Wow.
And so he ended up going to become a mailman.
Mailman, okay.
Yeah.
So factory closes, same factory as your dad, and then now we're looking for other opportunities.
My father would not give me, recommend me for the factory.
Why's that?
He told me he didn't want me to work there.
It's probably best off, right?
He didn't like it at all.
Yeah.
He was a curer. He made the tires and he cured them. And that's the process where you put them into a machine and it bakes them.
Okay.
So he puts them in. He's a pretty strong guy. Put them in, pull them out, all day long.
Wow.
That's what he did. You could take your arm wrestling and go.
Wow. No competition, huh?
He was pretty strong. But he didn't even recommend my brother.
But he's still.
Well, he had his future father-in-law recommended he got in and had a job there.
Wow.
Worked in the factory. And that was pretty much the town revolved around the factory.
It's really interesting you mentioned that. I know I've been doing some research around the area. In Goodyear, for instance, Goodyear, Arizona, that whole area was built off of the fibers of the tires. So I can understand what you're talking about how you have a city that it depends on one manufacturing position, and then you can imagine how that affects the city after that plant would close.
My wife's sister, her husband worked in the factory, same factory, in the same town. So everybody worked in that factory. It was pretty much what you did.
Of course.
And my father did not recommend me.
Wow.
He wouldn't let me go there.
So what was your next option?
Well, I ended up traveling on a bus about an hour to drive to Connecticut and worked there as a forklift driver.
Forklift driver.
We did shop tool control. So we took sharp tools, dropped them off at the bins, and picked up the old tools that needed to be sharpened and sent them off.
How was that job?
It was a job, it paid me, took an hour back home.
So you take an hour bus drive there,
Mhm.
and then you take an hour bus drive home after how long of a shift?
8 hours.
An 8-hour shift. So we're talking a 10-hour day easily. Wow. How about overtime? Was that always probably a common occurrence, or not typically?
Well, if you took a bus, you couldn't really take overtime.
It's a good point. You scheduled, right? Okay. Wow. So other
You
than
work Saturdays.
Saturdays.
You could work Sundays. If you got transportation there, a bus or a drive, but you couldn't work another hour or 2 hours. You had to be there for the bus.
Well, and I think that's an important thing to elaborate on it, because at that time, transportation is not like it is now. You can't hail an Uber and just have it pick you up from work and take you back an hour to Chicopee. Wow. So, other than the forklift job, what other kind of typical, civilian positions did you hold?
Before that or after?
So within your younger years, very, very young, early on.
Younger years, I might have mentioned before, is collecting newspaper and stuff like that. My father and my mother were not very rich. They were kind of poor. And so we would try and get money when we can, like we even gone to the dump and picked up rags.
Wow.
The dumps where you dump them off and pick the rags, pick them up, bring them home, wash them in an old washing machine outside, pack them up, and bring those to make money on. We found things like motors, strip the motors down, take the copper off, magnets in there.
And who was purchasing these rags and the copper?
They have places that are probably still places today that you can drop off your tin, your steel, you got to break it down, separate it. Newspapers, so you break it down, separate it, and they sell. You buy it by the pound. They buy it by the pound. So much for paper, so much for rags, so much for copper, aluminum. So you had to kind of figure out what they are and strip it down. Because copper was good, aluminum was next, but copper was pretty good.
Still pretty good, from what I understand.
Yeah.
So you said so we go from we're collecting newspapers, rags, copper, basically scrap metal in some cases, and actually turning that into to make some money. So you discussed in the past with me that you scaffolded that job. You went from, you stayed in a similar kind of job, and you kept the job of the scraps, but then you also acquired another position, and that was what?
Let's see, I picked up newspaper from the neighbors
Okay.
when I was very young.
Yes.
And I picked up newspapers, and I got enough money from that so I could get a wagon. And then I went out and able to take out more newspapers and go further.
Real quick, we're not talking a wagon. We're talking a pull wagon, correct? Like a red wagon?
Yeah, the red wagon. It was a
Okay,
red
wow.
wagon.
Wow.
Yeah, red wagon.
Very interesting.
So give me more distance I can carry the papers and a lot more paper.
Wow.
So I did that. And I had a job that my friend, told me about that paid me $1.50 a week.
$1.50 a week.
And we delivered only once a week. We had to deliver all the neighbors up and down the street,
Of course.
or a number of streets, and good area,
Wow.
about a mile.
So now I'm going to shift around a little bit to the tobacco farms, because I think this one is particularly interesting. You don't see typically, there's not a lot of positions where you see people picking tobacco. And I know early on in the colonial days of America, tobacco was a thriving business. It was one of the main crops in Virginia, for instance. What was it like working in the tobacco fields?
Horrible.
Horrible.
And that was at 14. But at 14, you had to get some job.
Wow.
If you're trying to make some money, earn some money. So doing that is you get up early in the morning. You got to get to the bus stop by 6 o'clock in the morning. You get up, walk to the bus stop, get on the bus, and an hour later or so,
Wow.
you'd be at Connecticut, because you had to go to a different state. We were living in Massachusetts, Chicopee, so we had to go to Connecticut and pick tobacco there. And it was high school kids or 14-year-old kids. And so you pick tobacco, and one of the first things you do, there's different types of tobacco. This is
Really?
These are cigar leaves,
Okay.
and so we're making cigars. And so the leaves have to be done in stages. And so when you first get there, the process is you pick suckers out. You have a row about shoulder length, and you sit down on your butt and you push it forward, so you're dragging your butt in this nasty stand.
Wow.
Usually wet or damp, because they water them and it drops. But you pick off the suckers so the rest of the plant can grow. And so that's your first stage, getting rid of the suckers, letting the plant start growing. And then as it grows, you actually take 2 fingers and you pick two leaves at a time and put them on your lap.
Wow.
You slide down the road and put your piles on the sides of the plants, and then you go get a basket and drag the basket, pick all the leaves you picked up, put them in the basket, drag it back. And so it would be pickings. The first picking would be your 2 leaves, next picking a couple leaves. As it keeps growing. And as you get along, you're finally on your knees picking tobacco, and you got to do it kind of quick.
Wow. So we're talking labor intensive, right?
Well, you make a little bit more money. Yeah, you make a little bit more money if you're faster.
So it's like a quota system.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
In the beginning, you can't make the quota if you're just picking suckers off, but when you start picking, they call it good pickings.
Wow.
Good pickings is when you get to the stooping age, or stage, you can have to be on your knees. Your butt's a little bit slow.
Yeah.
Knees you go faster, and then bending over faster.
So it's a series of process of learning how to increase the amount of tobacco you're picking.
Mm-hmm.
My, that seems like quite the bar to set. How much tobacco would you say you pick a day typically?
Well, I don't know, just 6 hours worth of picking.
6 hours of picking. I could assume it's, well, of course, depending on how fast you're moving, you're going to see everyone's. All right, so we're going to take a break real fast. We're going to continue after this break. So let me ask you some of this stuff. So we're gonna shift a little bit more towards the history. What was your education like as a student?
As a student?
As a student, early on.
Well, I don't think the educational system for me was very good because they did a tracking system.
Track. Explain that a little bit.
Tracking systems where you put the smart kids in one class to do well in testing, and you put others in like a general business or a general track or a business track or a college track, and they tracked them.
Okay.
Tracked them means you went with your group and you went to English together, kind of. The smart kids went to English, the smart kids went to math, the smart things went to a good science program and so forth. A good history class, so they put them into a track that is college bound. So you had the college bound track.
Okay.
And then you had the general business class track that I was in.
Okay.
So I went to that track.
Business class. Business track doesn't sound bad, but
Well, there's also two different tracks there.
okay.
Okay, within that, depending on what they would recommend for you, you would have a guidance counselor recommend classes and so forth. As an example, you could take bookkeeping, which is a higher level class, or you could take record keeping.
Okay.
Record keeping is really a lot lower track.
Very simple, yes.
Yeah, very simple. They get you through, And so that's a track I was in.
Okay.
The record keeping.
So they've got you on the low track, and so as far as basic education, when you say talk about like basic history, did you learn, because we're talking, you were born in 47, war ends in 45. Do you learn a lot about World War II?
Not really, because my father didn't go. He had problems with his ears, broken eardrum, and so he was not eligible for the service. So,
Okay.
So he wanted to go in.
Yeah.
In fact, he encouraged me to go into the service.
Wow.
I thought I was going to be a lifer.
Yeah.
I was looking at being a 20-year man, and
It's hard life.
my godfather was Uncle Emery. He was in Colorado. He was in there for like career person. Did a good job at it. Went traveling everywhere. Had a good retirement.
Oh wow.
And,
That's pretty interesting.
yeah.
But as far as like in class and stuff, there wasn't a heavy emphasis on the war.
Not really. They give us dates.
Dates.
We have to memorize some dates and
Okay.
what's happening in the country. Like, I'm not even sure if I got history.
Wow.
I might have got a history class.
It's interesting because I know nowadays it seems like we're shifting towards an education system where there's not a lot of at least social history literacy. So the reason I ask is because I know that typically a lot of people don't talk a lot about the Nazis. The Soviet Union's always very underlooked as well. How about patriotism? Did they teach patriotism, or was that more of kind of a more subdued, type of?
Well, I was patriot,
Yes.
patriot, loyal to our country. In fact, when I first joined the service, I'm not sure it was patriotism taught.
Yeah.
It was just there.
Just kind of exists. Yeah.
This is the United States.
The environment.
Yeah. It was this is our country.
Of course.
We would do things for our country.
Definitely.
Go to the service. I had no problem going to service. I would have gone to Vietnam when I first joined. Especially after basic training, I was ready.
Wow.
Send me.
It's more gung-ho than I would have been, sir.
I was
So-
going home.
How about the assassination of JFK? What do you remember about that?
I remember walking to a football practice, and I got there and found out that he was had been shot. And they shut everything down.
Wow.
I went home. And I was on TV. We had a very small TV back then, in black and white. There was no color. I mean, just a
Just
small,
a nice black white TV.
small black and white TV.
Wow.
It was not a, like nowadays you get, right now I have a 65-inch color,
Yeah, it's,
you know.
it's night and day.
Yeah.
Almost completely different world, right?
Different world. But
So-
we'd be watching it.
Now that we're talking about that while I'm there, over the years, what do you think has changed the most in technology that you've seen?
The most. There's a lot of things that are changing. Computing is one.
Computing. Okay.
Computing really is
Changed
the
significantly.
electronics of things you can do.
Yeah.
Like right now, if we wanted to, we could hook up my laptop, we can go onto that screen.
TV. Yeah.
We can have imaging, we can have stuff go on there, we can jump from there and put pictures on, we can turn around and go into the internet. The internet's been a big deal.
Of course, no, massively.
You know, so the computing, the internet, the technology has been really a key thing that I've seen.
Yeah.
Like when I did my master's thesis, I had to type on this typewriter.
Wow.
And the keys were not perfect or clean. And so I can't remember, it might have been G, or there's a couple of them that were not too clean. So when you type it on it, it didn't have your clear key.
Oh my.
Like right now, you can go back and highlight a word and have that bold, colored, scripted, underlined. You can do all kind of neat things.
And I'm assuming the professor probably didn't care that you had a typewriter that didn't work perfectly.
Oh no.
So the thesis had to be perfect regardless of the typewriter at the time.
Well, it's your thesis.
Yes,
Right?
yes, yes.
And so I'm having a rough time typing.
Oh,
And I was not a
my.
great typist. And so you had to turn in, well, if you made a mistake, now, you probably have to type the whole page over again.
Oh, man.
You know, and you could take and put a carbon thing, but at the end results, he didn't want that stuff, not printing. So you had to eventually type the whole thing over, but you put a carbon piece of paper and the letter would hit, and it would hit the G, and it would make it white, so your letter was white now, and then you have to retype it.
Oh, man, that sounds complicated.
Really not an easy process. So if you're trying to do things, if you make a mistake, you can't fix it. You have to start over again.
Wow.
Like if you take a resume and you've got 3 pages, let's just say 3 pages, and you want to change one thing in it, and it's up in the front, you got to type the whole 2 pages over again.
That's insane.
Because you can't move it. It's stationary.
So let me ask you this. You've seen computing develop pretty significantly. Where do you think it's going?
Where do I think it's going?
Yeah, where do you think it's going?
Well, right now they have a watch, and you can do a lot of things on the watch.
Right here, yeah.
You can talk into it. You can talk into it, and it'll do all kinds of things. Store it for you. You can write notes. You know, I don't have one. Probably won't get to that point. I don't need one.
So let me ask you this. What was your first phone?
When I first what?
Your first phone. I'm just talking the phone in general. What was it? And explain it to me. What was it like?
My first phone was a dial phone.
A dial phone. So like talking like a beep 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 like the 6-pad or?
You put your finger in a hole and you turn it.
Okay, so
rotary.
Rotary. We're talking about the entire. You take it out, spin it.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And usually it was a party line.
What's that?
Party line is where you have other neighbors in it. It could have, you could be one of my neighbors and be in the party as a duo, or you could be 4 people in the system.
And this was a typical way of using the phone.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so if somebody was on it, you couldn't use it.
So even though you had your own phone and the neighbors had their own phone, sometimes it would cross signals and you wouldn't even be able to get through.
Well, I'd pick it up and you'd be talking.
But would it be?
If you're talking on it, I can't use it.
So would this be a mutual agreement?
It's the system. You buy into that system. You know,
So-
2 party line,
wow.
or 4 party line.
What about privacy? Just non-existent?
If you pick the phone up, if you're talking and someone picks the phone up, you can say, I'm talking, or you let them know.
Yeah.
And they should hang up.
But we're generally talking neighbors that you don't know. Wow. That is mind-boggling. I didn't even know that existed until I've heard of party lines. I know sometimes people get in chats and stuff, but I didn't realize that it was quite that's impairing. I mean, what if you have an emergency? What if
Well, you have to tell them, get on it and say, I got an emergency.
get off my phone. Oh my.
It's their phone too. But you could get a private line.
Okay.
You could buy a private line. But everything costs money.
Yeah, so it kind of breaks it down.
We got a party line.
Okay. Wow.
2 people in it.
That's pretty interesting. So let me ask you this: your time in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
You were a GI in Germany. What was that like? The living conditions, some of the things you experienced.
What was it like as far as when I first got there? I was an E1.
E1.
Yeah.
We're talking fresh out of boot. You are at the bottom of the food chain, enlisted.
Right. So if you're an E1, you don't make very much money.
Not even today,
Um,
especially back then.
You didn't make much.
No, I'm assuming.
And I was married. I got married, so I wanted to bring my wife over there.
Okay.
And I was discouraged, to do that.
Yes.
But I did it anyway. They told me you can't, we don't recommend this. You'll be out in the field. All these reasons.
Of course.
Why you shouldn't do it. But I decided to do it anyway. And so to do that, we didn't have any money.
Of course.
Or very little money. And so I ended up living with another couple.
Okay.
And so.
So we're talking like a hostel or like a shared apartment?
Shared apartment.
So like a 2-bed, like each one of you has a bedroom, shared bathroom type of deal?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the first place we had was on the German economy, living in a small town. It's called Schweinfurt.
Frankfurt.
And it's Pigtown.
Oh, Big Town.
Yeah.
Big Town, Germany.
A little ways from the base.
Sounds like a fun place.
And so, anyway, you had a landlord that had one room upstairs. We had 2 bedrooms and a living room, and to take a bath. I think we had a toilet upstairs. Yeah, we had a toilet upstairs, our own toilet. But to take a bath, you had to go down the stairs and use the bath that they had.
Oh man.
Downstairs. And to use the bath, you had to pay money to use it because of the heat, the hot water. And they were really unhappy about you using the bathtub, often, because they just didn't think you should take a bath very often.
So are we talking like a coin op? Like you
Well,
drop
you have to give them marks to use it. A mark is a form of money,
Like a
a
German
thing, yeah. And so you have to give them a mark.
Wow.
One that paid the two marks, But
So
they didn't like it, us using it because we don't need a bath every day.
So here we are in Pigtown. You're paying per shower.
No shower.
No shower. No shower. You're paying for hot water, period. And
Above the tank above the bathtub.
and you've already been discouraged by your commands not to even bring your wife. So what was it like surviving there? I mean, in Frankfurt?
We did fine.
Did fine.
Yeah, we had another couple there, and they were nice people. And then they got pregnant. My wife got pregnant, and because of that part of it, and we got another rank. They gave us E2 when we got there. All us clerks put us in the infantry.
Oh, man.
Gave us E2, and we finally got E2 or 3. I don't know, PSC, whatever.
E3.
And gave us that. And then And when we both finally got to be Spec 4, and Spec 4 is better.
The specialist,
You can break
is
out.
it E4?
Yeah, E4.
Okay.
E4. I left Germany. I was in E5.
Not bad.
You know, which is good in a way.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And they pay for, when you're in E5, they'll pay to move your furniture back. They won't pay for your wife because to go back because she didn't bring her.
So back then, you had to be an E5 just to transfer your furniture? Because today, E1, they'll do it for you, and not just that, they'll move your dependents. That is, that kind of you can see how the military over time is significantly changed. And,
Yeah, well, if they brought my wife to Germany,
okay.
they would send her back. That's what they told me. But since they didn't bring her, I brought her.
They couldn't do anything.
I had to pay them, so I had to pay them to send her back. But
Okay.
they would send my furniture back.
Wow. So let me ask you this: what was the food like in Germany? Because we're talking, we're not wealthy. We're living in a shared apartment. What were you guys consuming on a daily basis?
Well, because of the other couple, when we were having meals together, their stuff wasn't the same thing. They were Southern people,
Okay.
and so they had Southern food that they would eat.
So we have your southern neighbors, and then we also have you guys from back east.
Right.
Okay.
And so you end up eating cream corn all the time, cream corn and some of the other stuff that they have, and green stuff.
So we got cream corn. We got probably collard greens.
That's it, collard greens.
Okay. And then what was your preference?
Oh, I think we eat chicken,
Chicken.
hamburger.
Are we talking prime chicken, or are we talking some, what you get your hands on chicken?
Where we get this in the PX.
It's not terrible, but not.
Yeah, it'd be
Okay.
okay.
Very cool.
You know, one time we ate sea rations.
Ooh.
Really good take.
Explain what that is.
Sea rations are stuff you use if you go out in the field or disaster strikes. You have a case of sea rations.
Okay.
And the sea rations were food that, a can of meat, the fat in it and stuff.
Oh, Jew. Oh, that's so bad. So the meat is just unintelligible. You can't really quite tell what it is, or is it
That meat, that's old beef meat.
old beef meat?
And one thing I noticed about sea rations you can also use them, they'll give you some sea rations when you're on the field to eat. And one of the things I noticed that they had in the military back then is they actually encouraged you to smoke.
Really?
And in the sea rations, a packet of sea rations, they had cigarettes.
That's such a strange concept these days.
Yeah. But they had cigarettes in their sea rations, or your packet of food and dessert. And
So on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the worst thing you've ever eaten, where do those sea rations rank?
pretty down there.
They're pretty high, huh? Not very,
Pretty down,
not good.
not good.
Okay, so
I would like them.
no. Okay, so in your time in Germany, what was the most? Did you have anything? Did you learn anything about the people, or was it kind of just you doing your own thing?
The people were nice, our landlord and stuff. One of the things I learned, I saw it was very simple stuff.
Simple.
You know, for example, I can't remember exactly on the game now, but it's you can draw a line in the sand. You take a ball and just roll it up to the line. Whoever the closest to the line gets points.
Huh.
So you take turns rolling the ball, and if you hit the other person's ball, you move it away from the line. And so we played that with the landlord and stuff. But the point is very simplistic.
Yes.
You know, everybody had fun, they're jumping up and down, they had a good time, and we had a good time. And nowadays, for people to have fun, you have to go to fly to Orlando
Yeah.
or whatever,
Disney World
and spend a huge amount of money to have fun. My brother, I remember once he refinanced his house so he can get extra money so he could go to Disneyland.
Oh wow, that seems Seems like a
So
board.
the simplicity, I think, the simplicity of what I saw that you can get by with, you can get by with very little and be fine.
Wow. So after your MOS was, what was it again?
Sergeant E5.
So in your job you were a typist?
I never was a typist. I was
Okay.
a typist for training,
And then infantry, correct?
and then infantry.
And then infantry. Okay. So after you get out, right? You're going to college, right?
Mhm.
So in this time you're going to college, we're talking about a crazy time, right? We have people protesting. We have lots of GIs coming back, seeing atrocious things. Did you know people who went to Vietnam?
Yeah, a lot, quite a few of them. Some of them died. One of my classmates died. A lot of people that in Germany, the training center essentially to get people ready for Vietnam and go off, and some rotated out and came back. And then they rotated back out. They got pretty decent money from going to Vietnam, so
Hazard pay. Yeah.
and combat pay, and so they would take the job, make more money, and
It's rough, man.
But
So-
yeah, so, one guy I was that went to high school with, he told me he enjoyed killing.
Wow.
He just enjoyed it, just the rush between his body, and he was really psyched out.
Yeah, I mean, so did he did he come back and kind of reassimilate into what we would see as standard society?
Yeah, he did. It took him a while, but I actually even gave him a clock I had from Germany, my grandfather clock. I gave it to him at my cost, real cheap, is what I paid for it. Just because he's a nice guy and he's a friend.
It's awesome.
And I hated seeing, I went over to Germany, he went over to Vietnam, and came back all messed up.
Yeah.
You know.
Wow, that's an amazing story to hear. So you come back now and you're going to college because it's the logical next move. What's it like going to college in that environment as a GI?
People never bothered me. One thing I did is I wore my field jacket. Field jacket is a jacket, an army jacket. I took my patches off, I believe.
Yeah.
I don't think I even have them on. I'm not sure anymore.
But they knew. They knew you were in the military.
Yeah, and nobody bothered me.
Really?
I did my own, especially the first 2 years, community college.
Of course.
I went there, and no one's going to bother me.
I think
I mean, they went on strike. They wanted to stop people from going to school. They had picket lines. I just walked through them with my friends. We just
do what you gotta do to get through. You
they
get what you
were
need
They
done.
would step aside.
Yeah.
I'm going to school. I mean, I went on a GI Bill, and I'm going to school for. I'm not going to cause any problem with them either.
Yes.
But I have my rights too.
Yeah, entirely.
And so we just walked through and did our thing, sat in a smaller class, less people. I get my questions answered, I learned more.
That's how it should be.
I was serious. Well, a very serious student. I wanted to learn. Wasn't prepped for college, but I wanted to do it.
So we have you going to college, and you originally go into what?
Business.
Business. Okay.
Business management. I was going to management.
Business. Okay. And then we see a turn though. What you go from business to?
Well, during high school, one of the things I got involved in was what they called at that time was called distributed education.
Okay.
Now they call it marketing education. And it's a business program where students learn how to retail, and back then some of that stuff was real old, like display techniques, advertising techniques, salesmanship. Maybe they tied in some record keeping, wrapping things. Anyway, we had contests with that too, statewide and national contests in our business program. And so I actually was president of that club.
Wow.
You know, and I had a teacher there I really liked. She was an older woman. Her name was Miss McLeod, and she cared about us, you know, being successful. And she's a great teacher. I mean, it's one of those neat teachers that you remember.
Yeah.
So she was just a neat teacher, and so that's kind of business stuff. And then I went to college, and I got to the University of Massachusetts, and I wasn't really still prepared for some of the techniques. You had like 500 students in a class, a management class, introduction to management, and I'd pass out sheets.
Just in one lecture hall.
And the way you grade it, a lot of times multiple choice, and they're pulled out of textbooks. That's terminology, and I wasn't quite prepared for those kind of tests, but
Yeah.
I did well in the marketing area.
Marketing.
Less students,
Okay.
100 students, or so on.
But still, that's a packed lecture hall.
So I was getting a C in marketing. No, excuse me, a C in management, and I was getting A's in marketing.
Okay.
And so then I looked at marketing education. They had a program there, and what it did is got you teaching the business thing, like Miss McLeod. And so it was like a thing that I could do something that would change people's lives, like she was doing. And I thought about that.
Wow. See.
That's pretty good. I could make a difference in people's lives. I could go into and become an educator.
Yeah.
Don't necessarily need to be a business person, but I could still teach the business end of it
Okay.
to students. And so I looked at that, and I saw that would be a quicker way for me to get out of college. I got out of there real fast.
How long did it take you?
I think I got in there, I was out of there probably a year.
Wow. So double time, basically.
Yeah. Well, because my last semester I actually went to New Hampshire, and in this marketing education program, there were a couple people leaving jobs in New Hampshire. There was two slots that I did apply for both.
Yeah.
And I wanted one I didn't get, so I didn't make that one. And someone else, that one guy was so good, he was pretty good at interviewing or whatever, or knowledge, but he actually probably got both jobs.
Wow.
He turned down this one, I ended up with that one. And so, but I did get one.
Yes.
You know, but I guess I got me out 6 months earlier, got me to teach, make money, so I was out there a lot faster.
So you're in the field. You're still finishing up the degree, but you're in the field at least.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's
No
impressive.
student teaching though, so there's advantages and disadvantages to that.
Yeah.
And they were trying to figure it out. And the person that I had a teacher, my educator, that kept an eye on student teaching, he's a really good guy. I'm not sure his philosophy actually was the answer, but
Yeah.
it was another answer. He has some good thoughts though.
Yeah. Wow. So teaching, you taught in the 70s, right? You were an active educator in the 70s.
71.
So you were there through the whole period. Do you have any crazy stories of students or?
Yeah, there's quite a few. I've gone on a field trip, for example, and
Where to?
Carnival or something end of the year.
Okay, Carnival.
Yeah, and so we took a bus down there, and one of the students and her girlfriend, one of the students, her father was a school board chair,
Okay.
and she ran away from school.
While you were on the field trip.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Just decided she wasn't going back home. Not from school, but a house, everything.
Yes.
which you're responsible for.
Yeah, a local parentis. That's our job as teachers. Yes.
And I lost her.
Oh Lord, that resolved. Hopefully.
Oh yeah, she just ran away. And
Okay.
smart person.
Pretty exciting. How about any other ones or?
Oh yeah, I had the same one actually. In an earlier experience, stabbed a student. We were sitting there, we were having a conflict, and my mistake was I should have been between them, but they were sitting next to each other. I should pick up a pencil and stab them in the face.
In the face.
Yeah.
Were we talking piercing the cheek or?
Yeah.
Wow.
Around down here somewhere.
But I mean, it went through the skin.
Yeah.
Like skin. Wow. So she wasn't just messing around. She was trying to stick him.
Yeah, that woman was my first semester teaching. My first semester, so she was a real toughie.
Yeah.
You know, in fact, when I had my student teacher person come over and check me out, we had a store and then a classroom.
Yes.
She went to the store, grabbed a beanbag from the store that we're selling, brought it and threw it on the floor,
Oh.
and sat there. And gave me a hard time, just to be, very defiant. And her father was a school board person, and I sent her to the office. This is before all these things happened. I sent her to the office. When he went out to the hall, stopped her, told her not to go to the office, came back and told me to never send anybody to the office, handle your own problems, you just look weak. And probably I shouldn't have sent her to the office for that issue.
But.
So when she stabbed the kid in the face, I should have sent her to the office. I did not.
Wow.
I let it ride. We got the guy cleaned up.
Yeah.
I should have not done that. That's a mistake. I mean, there's a point where you should be
Give the draw line.
and there should be a line. But I was drawing on my experience from my mentor,
Yes.
teacher, saying, "Do not send anybody ever to the office."
Yeah.
And so I didn't. But he was wrong, in my opinion.
Yeah.
There should have been a point, it was a point where you, thinking that something should be done.
Well, at some level, the administration has to get involved. I mean, that's just, it is what it is. We've had, I've dealt with various experiences from simple defiance to, near violence between students, and it's never cut and dry. It's always a gray area, and you have to just kind of make your best judgments.
And maybe she wouldn't have ran away. Maybe her father would have disciplined her or something. I think she was probably crying for
Attention of some sort.
Attention.
Must be something.
Something going on from her father.
Yeah.
I'm sure, mother, family.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't help. Well, so he was a school board member, but he wasn't even an educator?
I don't think so, but he was a school board member.
Which holds water.
But politically, yeah. It's all
Politically,
politically, with the principal and superintendent.
All right, so I'm going to shift gears a little bit because I want to ask you about this. And I asked you previously if you've ever had any startups. I want to know about your startup. Tell me about your startup that you made, because you were a business major. So what was your startup?
I had a couple of things I did. One was computer concepts. That's a business I started.
Computer concepts.
Yeah. Before when I was teaching, we had like summers off, and I taught, not taught, but sold real estate.
Okay.
For a number of years. And so, one of the things I noticed in the multiple listing service, they did not have a good system for multiple listings. This is history now.
Okay.
And so they had a program out, but it wasn't that good. It was a national system that they were trying to sell to our multiple listing service. And the consensus was we could just get a decent system that would work and so forth. So I ended up putting a biz together for that, for just one of the things, specifically for that. And I talked to this guy who's from Radio Shack that supposedly knew, he worked there. that he knew all this programming, and he's gonna do something that's called Forth. It's a programming language that can handle.
What's the language?
Forth. Forth. And it could handle a lot of data,
Okay.
supposedly, and it's a good solid one, and one that's not well known,
Yeah, I've never.
so that he could have his own little control over that program.
He's got all the code. Yeah.
And so we bought the license for it
Wow.
to have the Forth thing, but he could never get the darn thing functioning the way it should. He got it somewhat. He got it functioning on Word, Excel, or data management programs.
Of course.
And he got a Microsoft product. So he showed the board that, and we had a nice desk. It looked really good monitor. I mean, just looked real pretty.
Yeah.
But it was on Word, and it never. They said, well, when you can get it working in a bigger system.
Yeah, they wanted it to be like an independent software as opposed to being integrated within
Not
the
with Word.
office. Yeah.
Well, Word couldn't do it as powerful as we needed at that time.
Well, I mean, even today, Word's nowhere even near the capacity of Excel or some of the data processing systems.
Anyway, it ended up to be he couldn't do it.
Couldn't do it.
I mean, I was committed. I put my house up on the market.
Wow.
No, not put on the market. Let me rephrase that. I mortgaged my house with the bank for leverage to get money
For the startup.
for the startup of this thing.
Wow.
So I took the risk. In the end result, I sold it back to him. Got to convince the bank to get him a loan, or he had to pick up his mother's trailer
Oof.
to go against the house.
Yeah.
Against the loan. So I kind of got out of that. I broke even, but boy, it was a rough one. I could have lost.
Yeah. So do you know anything that came of it? Did it flop?
Pardon?
Did it end up going down?
Yeah, I'm sure it did.
You're sure? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. But I mean, we're talking, it's pretty revolutionary. We're talking a time where there wasn't really internet listings for anything, let alone for real estate.
Yeah. I really believe that, we could have done it.
Yeah.
Got the right program and the right, the key thing is picking the right people that can do the job.
The delegation.
Yeah. Well, not delegation, having the expertise. He didn't have the expertise and convinced me. I didn't do a good enough job, obviously,
So you think he's feeding
that he
you,
could do it.
feeding you nonsense?
I thought he could, but he couldn't.
Yeah.
But back then, I mean, I was moving on it. I was doing my part, the administration part. I had conferences, national conferences lined up
Yeah.
for us to attend, demonstrate our product, and try and sell it. National Board of Realtors, I was going through their conferences, finding them out.
Wow.
Statewide, nationwide,
That's pretty
nationals.
thorough. I mean, that's,
Well, I was doing it.
yeah,
As long as I was doing what needed to be done administrative
of
wise.
course.
And
But he wasn't doing the technical end.
he couldn't.
He wasn't
capable.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Wow.
wasn't capable.
So you do go into education though. You do go into education. You get to the college level, and then we have something weird happening, right? Because you enter a field that you had no experience in, as far as not business but accounting.
Right.
You want to explain that process to me a little bit? How that occurred and
Well, when I first went to the college, I went there and I got hired as department chair. It was a real small department. It was department chair of management.
okay.
There was only one other full-timer there.
Yeah.
Basically with a bunch of other part-timers. But I did get hired for that. And then they had what they called cooperative education. It was on-the-job training program that came through for a federal grant.
Okay.
And so my immediate supervisor wanted me to do that.
Wanted you to be part of the
Yeah,
program.
to do it because he knew I could do it. And did a great, I thought a great job, best I could. But it folded after 3 years, the grant ended. And so, end result, and my immediate supervisor left.
Okay.
So I was hanging out there.
That's a problem, right? I mean, you get
Oh, yeah,
rapport with that guy.
He left in bad terms.
Oh, that's even worse.
And I was stuck out there hanging. So I don't think they wanted to renew the grant
Mm-hmm.
because of
The whole
sister.
situation there.
But so he left, and then the grant ended, and then another person left that was teaching accounting and took off somewhere else. And so I ended up jumping into the accounting job, saying, yeah, I could do that. One of the things in education that I believe is that in philosophy is that there's a couple of things. One, this is one of them, is that you could teach yourself to learn how to learn.
I think that is such an important idea.
And so I believe that I know how to teach myself how to learn. And so I taught myself accounting.
So you went from scratch, no accounting knowledge at all, and then you picked it up. How did you go about doing it? Did you pick up books or?
Well, it's not that I didn't have any knowledge. It was old knowledge. But
Of course.
Going through the college program, my associate's degree, I did have accounting. In fact, I was really good at it.
Really?
Yeah, I had accounting 201, 202, and managerial accounting.
Oh,
But
okay.
if you don't use it,
Yeah.
and it's more complicated teaching it. Learning the tricks of the trade.
No, you have to know the nuances. Yeah.
Yeah. In other words, I know I can explain it fairly well to explain how the system works, but it's more complicated. There'd be another discussion on that one.
Yeah.
It's more complicated on how to view it than just say, well, here it is. You know.
Yeah, I mean, you can say, well, is the process, but if you can't understand the actual mechanisms behind the process, it's like you can read a manual all day. If you've never put together anything, it's going to look like alien. I mean,
Well, one of the things I did too is business-wise, is I had myself a small business of doing consulting for businesses and accounting. I started off doing some accounting on it, and so I learned how to use the accounting packages and so forth electronically over time, in time.
of course. Very nice. So most people are going to know you actually moved from Massachusetts at one point to Farmington, New Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Farmington, New Mexico, if nobody knows, is I believe, one of the most fantastic places on earth. It's just the weather, the food, the culture. I want to know, you were there for a while. What are some of the biggest changes you saw within Farmington, New Mexico?
In Farmington, New Mexico, and probably towns that are similar, that are kind of excluded and have main sources of revenue. And so when you look at Farmington, New Mexico, you've got three probably main sources. One is energy.
Mm-hmm.
It's an energy town. Within the energy, you have gasification, which has the biggest gasification in the country.
Really? I didn't know that.
And they pump it out, and they'll send it in pipelines, and they'll send it across the United States, and then they broker it. In fact, my nephew, my wife's sister's son, brokers it. And that we could talk about later too. But he brokers gas and made a huge living. He's got a beautiful house.
Wow.
Just brokering the gas.
And that's just making the deals for the
Deals,
companies.
selling,
Okay.
breaking it down,
Okay.
buying the gas.
Wow.
Anyway, so they got gas going there. They've got coal. Coal fuels the power plants.
Yeah.
And there's two major power plants there. The Navajo one and the APS.
Yes.
Yeah, so the coal becomes another major, this is all energy.
Of course.
But the coal becomes a feeder of the power plants, and the coal also can be shipped out,
Exported.
and exported. And China will buy coal, but and burn the coal, which is they hid APS and Navajo would power plant, they would burn the stuff at night. So when they're polluting, they would pollute at night, and you see the most black, but it's hidden.
Yeah.
So you get that stuff that's not good for you.
And this is a widely known practice.
Well, I must know because I used to deal with some of the stuff when I was there.
Of course.
And I'm sure it's probably not as cleaned up as it. They're supposed to always put new scrubbers on.
I'll tell you, I don't know if you know about this, a little bit later after you left, there was a Gold King mine spill right up in Colorado that completely tainted the San Juan. It completely, it turned the animus yellow, and it was like that for almost a week straight. And mercury, heavy lead, poison, all kinds of heavy metals within that water. And not just that, it ended up getting shifted out to the same place we're talking about, where these power plants are near the reservations, and then it contaminated the well water for probably till today. So I understand what you're talking about. That's just insane. But I'm sorry, I'm going to focus back. I'm going to shift back to the changes of farming.
So, on a place like farm, usually, this one had energy as your main base.
You got oil, coal.
Yeah, and then what you had from there, you had two major, I would say two major players in town. And one was maybe three major players. The college. Okay, the college educational system, a major player and a mover, shaker type of thing. And then they had the hospital.
Of course.
And then they had a city. And so those are pretty much if you're either into the power plant end of it, not the power plant, but the energy end of it, and they have some oil, but not as much.
Yeah.
Colorado had more of an oil area. But you're either a player of the energy or you're a player of one of those major
education, medical,
in the city.
Wow.
Those were your jobs, were kind of like your major jobs were lined up. And then everything else, you have electricians and whatever.
Filling gas.
But the college took a major role and responsibility and did a lot there. And so I watched that grow significantly.
College, San Juan College.
Yeah, San Juan College. And they branched out. Right before I got there, they were a very small college.
Really?
Yeah. If I was there, I could walk you through and show you what's old, but you could never tell because they could fix it.
Oh, it's very beautiful still there. Yeah, it's very good quality.
And it is very small.
Yeah.
And it just kind of grew and grew,
Expanded pretty rapidly.
Yeah. To a point where it's a huge facility, nice facility.
So you would say that the college for sure, the most significant change you saw there? Or?
Well, when you looked at it, they hired me as a master's, a master's degree. In fact, actually my master's was in education.
Okay.
It wasn't in management, it wasn't in accounting, it was a master's in education.
It's kind of the shoe that fit.
And the business was, my business background was predominantly in the lower end. So, I didn't get a bachelor's in business, I got a bachelor's in education. But they're willing to hire me. Now they want a doctorate degree in administration.
Yeah, it's pushing over
Which business, or doctorates in business would be better. But, so the positions change where they're requiring more. It doesn't mean they can do a better job.
No.
But positions change, the structures change, it just grows.
Yeah. Wow. I'm going to take a break real fast just to make sure this is still rolling, and then we'll finish this up. We're getting towards the end of our time anyways, but yeah, there we go. All right. So, easy question. If you had to choose one book that was the most influential to you, what book would you say?
Think on that one.
It's fine. We can come back to it if you want. You want to do that?
We can come back to it, but I'm just trying to think of what book would be, if you can cut it.
There's a lot of influential ones, but I mean...
Yeah. it's difficult because books weren't never my. I think they're probably books in the self-help area.
Self-help.
Yeah, self-help for me.
Yes.
To grow with, like Earl Nightingale would be.
Earl Nightingale.
Would be one of the books. But there was a multitude of different books that were influential. Maxwell. Maxwell, he would be one that could fall in that category. Dennis Waitley would be a good one.
Okay, Dennis Waitley.
Yeah, in fact, Dennis Waitley even sold some of his tapes in my business and songs throughout the stage.
Just plugging them, or?
Yeah, but he was, did some pretty good stuff.
Did you know him personally, or?
No.
Okay, just helping.
No, I
just selling his tapes.
I sold him because I liked the
stuff
that he said. And
okay.
I thought it would have impact.
It's a good product.
Yeah.
That's good.
But I think the self-help books.
Okay. So
books.
Let me give you another softball. Who's inspired you when you were younger? Who were your heroes growing up, and people that you looked up to try and emulate, I guess, to some degree?
Well, Doris McLeod.
Doris McLeod. Who's that?
She was the one that did
okay,
that.
yes, your professor.
I talked to her about. Yeah, she influenced me, and
Doris McLeod.
I thought was really important in my life. Kind of helped me think through what I wanted to do something. So I would say that person would be
Doris McLeod. Okay, very nice. And she's still with us, by chance, or?
Boy, that was it.
Probably not. Okay.
She was probably in her 60s when I was a teenager.
Yeah, reasonably so. I understand that. Yeah, that's it. It's interesting, Doris McLeod. I'm gonna have to try and see if I can find more information on it. I'm really interested. So,
you're just a teacher.
Yeah. Well, just a teacher.
Chicken be high.
Just a teacher. You know, that's a big deal. You know, for a lot of people, and you know, clearly for you, I would say Sergeant Rose. For me, Jennifer Carlton, if they ever see this. SIPI accreditation, I want to get to that because that is going to be a significant part of what you've done. You got a Native American college accredited in a major way. Can you elaborate on that for me?
Well, it was the Association of Collegiate Business Schools and Programs, and I believe they changed the name since I was involved.
Of course.
But I was kind of involved in that way back in 1994.
94.
Yeah, until I left SIPI.
Yeah.
And I was involved in that. That would be 2007. So it's quite a while.
Wow, that's significant.
But that association was basically to help improve business and go into your business programs, and you would go into schools
Okay.
and evaluate them, and they had certain criteria. The thing that I thought was significant about that organization is it tried to help you become a better school.
Okay, wow.
With giving you ideas and trying to get you up to the standard if you're not there, a standard of quality.
Okay, and it's sort of like an A rating these days in some of the schools. Like a lot of times the schools that look for an A rating, trying to you kind of boost. It's a status symbol to some degree, basically saying that you're a quality institution. Similar to that, or is it sort of different?
Yeah, it is. This was a major one for business.
Okay, for business.
Yeah, business programs, and so, and they have different ones. They have. I think it's called ABET for drafting.
Okay.
And so they have a drafting program, they have one, and they have some other higher level computer academic things that would rate them. This one just happened to be the business one, and it took in things like, it took in computing and secretarial and real estate and paralegal and.
Wow.
So it took a lot of business programs, within it that when you went for credit.
That's huge. That's
accounting.
Yeah.
And so I'm backing up a little bit because I wanted
Of course.
to give it
Some meat.
yeah. And so I got involved in going to a couple of schools and evaluating them. My first one was in Kansas City,
Oh, wow.
Johnson County Community College, and really good school.
Kansas City.
So I got a good feel for a good quality school. And that helps you kind of see what the program should have in structure, and it helps you see what kind of things you can do to improve. And in fact, when I look back at 1994, you went in and you had some general type criteria. And the criteria back then is nothing like it is today,
Really?
or was when I left.
More stringent or less stringent today?
I would say, yeah, a lot more stringent.
More stringent.
Well, it's not more, it's like, you may not have heard of the Baldrige Award.
I know the term. I've never. What is it?
Baldrige is an evaluation criteria that's used by many organizations.
Okay.
Hospitals use it. Okay.
So is it sort of like a rubric that just determines the?
Yeah, they have certain criteria. to look
Okay.
at.
Yes.
And the hospitals use it nationwide. Colleges, San Juan College uses the Baldrige Award. Also, in fact, at San Juan College when I was there, we got the Baldrige Award.
Wow. So you received it at San Juan College, and then.
Yeah. And ACBSP, or the Association of Collegiate Business Schools and Programs, was obtained at San Juan College first. So I really had a good knowledge of what I was doing there. But the Baldrige criteria goes into assessments where they take standards. If you, for example, if you did something, let's just take an enrollment in business programs.
Of course.
You look at what was taking place there. One criteria could be enrollment. And so you look at the enrollment in a 3-year, 5-year, 10-year period, and you graph that, and you look at the growth. And if you're not growing, why are you not growing? If you are growing, what are you doing right? And so you start looking, and that's just one criteria.
Of course.
But you got many criteria. The quality of what you're offering, the courses you're offering, and so forth. So it's become now a lot more, not stringent per se, but you've got to lay out what you're doing.
Of course, it's got to be very clear.
Yeah, you have to have data, graphs, trends. So it can't be like you just look at a short picture and look at 1 year.
Yeah.
You're looking at a series of years of what's going on, what you're doing, how you're growing, how you're meeting the thing. Are students getting jobs? What are the enrollments? When they graduate, where are they going?
Yeah, there's a lot more statistics to it. I mean, it's
Tons of
it's
statistics.
pretty thorough.
But that group, in fact, I went to United Arab Emirates.
Tell me about that.
To do an on-site evaluation.
Wait. So hold up, because I thought you went to the United Arab Emirates in the military.
No.
No, see, you went to the United Arab Emirates to analyze their schools. So explain how this even happens.
Well, they wanted to, United Arab Emirates wanted to be accredited to get prestige. Prestige of being accredited, blessed, call it, by this organization. So they would do not only, the organization, ACBSP would not only do stuff here in the United States, they would also go out international. The United Arab Emirates wanted that credential.
But it wasn't an American company that was giving the
No, it's
accreditation.
their schools.
So it's just an international.
United Arab Emirates is a country,
Yes.
and so we ended up putting a team together. We flew over there and evaluated their schools.
Wow.
They're 2-year schools, they're 2-year community colleges.
Okay.
And what ended up happening is they had separate women's schools and men's schools.
Of course, because of the
You know, And so we had, I think it's 5 or 7 different schools that we looked at. We all broke up into teams and went different places, going across
Wow.
the desert sand blowing over. I mean, you know.
So what was the UAE like?
Well, my wife has a necklace, you know, with a name on it that they got there.
That's pretty cool.
They were, you know, they made it for them.
Anything strange about the society that you really picked up on, or not typically any cultural
Going
differences?
downtown, I saw a woman with a big mask on her face.
Mask?
You know, like a catcher's mask, pretty much.
For what? Maybe just cover something up, or
No, it goes back to the, most of the women have to cover their faces. You know.
It's the hijab.
This one had like a catcher's mitt. I mean, really strange looking.
So it wasn't necessarily a full veil. It was like
was
an
worse.
altered full veil.
It was a worse one, yeah.
Wow. Okay,
When we go back in that, they had
that's really interesting.
people with guns, rifles in the street,
So wait,
banks.
have you been to Mexico?
Mm-hmm.
So would you say the UAE had more heavily militarized than Mexico?
Mm-hmm.
Really? Because Mexico, they still have, you know, you've got troops in the back of trucks with some 50 cals, and everything. Sometimes they're pretty heavily armed. So UAE is much more.
That's the troops. The UAE had the police force.
They're
The
carrying
local-
rifles
The
and.
local police force had rifles.
Wow.
You know,
But they don't have a ton of crime there, right? The UAE is pretty stable for being located where it
no,
is.
it's fine.
Yeah, it's pretty.
You wouldn't want to break their, steal in their bank.
Yeah, of course not. Of course not. No.
They would shoot you.
It's probably why it's so stable.
Yeah.
Honestly.
But they, you know, went downtown. And, we had drivers from, like, my driver was from Yemen.
That's cool. It's very cool.
So it wasn't like
Makes
going to a
sense.
section. We had to go travel a huge distance, you know, to get to places to visit their schools and stay over.
So, because you can imagine, it's not like here where you have a community college in almost every city. How many community colleges were there?
Well, the ones we were back, I think it was 5 or 7. I can't remember.
It's still, it's a small country. That's a pretty decent amount. I mean,
Well, we looked at their community college system.
of course.
So we sent people all over and come back, and they treated us like kings.
It's pretty well. Awesome.
In fact, we were all men.
Were they pro-American? Like pretty pro-American, or?
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah, I knew we definitely don't have bad relations with the UAE.
And they're a very rich country.
Oh yeah, it's just like Saudi Arabia, like Qatar. I mean, they're very, very wealthy. It's oil typically, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. So, did you visit any other Arab countries while you were there, or
No.
no? Just UAE.
Yeah, it took us like 16 hours to get there.
That's one heck of a trip, man. That's more than a long drive.
Yeah, well, anyway, it's quite extensive, and I was actually president for a couple of years of the Southwest Council for Business Schools and Programs, which is the regional, and so I was president of that
Oh wow.
for 2 years, and did that, and did evaluator training.
Check it out. Make sure I run it over. We're good.
Anyway, so I got San Juan College accredited because I was sold on the concept. And then when I went to SIPI, I also got theirs accredited. That was one of the things I said I would do.
Wow.
And
That's huge. I mean, that's a pretty big achievement for both. I mean,
well, one of the things I'm seeing too is that, like, when I left SIPI, they ended up not folding, but they ended up losing their North Central accreditation.
they lapsed, or
Pardon?
it ended up lapsing, or just the qualities weren't there anymore to possess the
When they had the visitation, I wasn't there, but when they had the visitation, they didn't pass. And so because they didn't pass, it's either North Central or South Central or whatever. But I have to go look it up. But it's because they break it up into different parts of the country.
yes.
And so anyway, they lost theirs, their accreditation. When they lose that, they also lose ACBSP, because that type, you have to have that one to get the other.
So it's like scaffolds. You have one, you can receive the next, but if you don't have the first one, it's just flat out gone.
Well, they think they could get the person who took my job, figured he'd get the ACBSP back when they finally get the other one back, the major one. And they did get it back, the major.
Correct.
But I know they'll never get the association included, because that's really hard. It's hard to get now, because you've got to really document stuff and to put all the information together.
Yeah.
That was the last, when I got it for SIPI, it was the last year they had the, not lower criteria, but not the complicated assessment with the Baldwin's criteria.
Well, I mean, from what you made it sound like, with the way that it's gotten more complicated, it seems like you need a full team to even get that kind of research, the kind of analytics, and then to even administer it. It seems that would be a bit of a stretch.
Well, you could probably put a team together, but you also got to know somebody.
You got it, yeah. So it's one of those things that you have to be in the system.
Me going to United Arab Emirates, being on evaluation teams, being involved with people, going to their national conferences.
That's so cool. That really
I
is.
know people, so
yeah.
when I was doing it, that helps in getting it.
Of course.
Because
Man, that is super interesting. I had no idea that's why you were there.
You talk, you can talk the game if you know it.
Yeah.
But if you don't know anybody, you don't know what you're talking about, and you don't.
Of course.
And I'm sure that other guy, he's a lawyer. He took my job, but he's a lawyer. He's no longer he's not a business person.
No.
So it's a little bit harder. You don't understand.
Yeah, it's like going into a whole different game. I mean, as a lawyer, you're trained for judiciary, the law. You're very specific. I mean, you're already embedded in it. It's very strange to think that they wouldn't hire somebody that would have the kind of qualities. But real quick, SIPI. What is SIPI?
Southwest Indian Polytechnical School.
Southwest Polytechnical Indian School. Yeah, I have a couple questions on that because I have some primary sources that you gave me. I found this document in there. This is the development of conceptual framework of a learning of a Native American adult learners in formal educational environments. So this is actually based on data that was assessed from 206 Native American college students representing 49 tribes. Mm-hmm. Now, some of these results, I honestly wasn't really shocked to find a lot of this because it's not necessarily really even Native Americans that this works for. It seems that this is just typical education stuff. So I'm going to read through some of this. Native Americans believe in a collaborative format should be used as much as possible to deliver content of the curriculum. That's collaboration is huge always. Practical tasks and skills involve some interesting thoughts and implications. Again, using actually hands-on work. Educators should identify students' current abilities, right? The individual learning, and promote the use of these. So we're talking about expanding upon students already their current ability to create and build. And then the fact Native American students report a preference for elaborative processing re-emphasizes the importance of making connections between tasks or skills and their applications to real-life experiences. And I think this has been the complaint for a very long time now, is that the education system just hasn't given enough people practical, hands-on knowledge that allows you to function in a society like this. We learn the algebra, but we don't learn how to change the pan on your oil car, the oil can in your car. Or we learn, Shakespeare. I didn't learn Shakespeare, but you learn Shakespeare, and then, for instance, can't fill out a job application. So I think this is monumental, particularly because this isn't even new. This is what they've been saying. So I mean, this is I think you guys were already onto it back then. I mean, it just shows why SIPI was accredited. It shows why San Juan College was accredited, because you guys knew what you were talking about based on research. Do you have any comments on that, or?
No, I think
pretty much sums that up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think to learn Well, I think the learning of students, that is a philosophy thing I have. I'll mention that. Because I mentioned with Dylan,
Yes.
the grandson, but a couple of things that I've learned is one that a student has to take on their own responsibility for learning.
Okay.
And until they have decided that it's them, we're going to make the difference. That is key in the learning process. That they have to figure out that it is their responsibility to do that. And then the second thing would be is that you have to teach them how to learn, and because things will change.
Of course.
Like I would say, I could learn how to teach a person how to learn accounting.
Yes.
I could teach you management skills or whatever, but you have to own it. Okay, as a student. Those are two main things I told him that I have learned when I was with him last week.
Yes.
He was complaining about some things and about teaching and things he has to learn or not learn.
Of course.
So those are key. If you can get your students to learn how to learn and take on responsibility, it's them.
Yes.
And you talk about excelling. That's the key thing in the whole
We haven't gotten there yet. We haven't gotten there yet. So what I'm hearing is students need to take responsibility for their own learning, first of all, and then second is that they have to learn to learn. The actual process of being able to take content, process that content, and then be able to actually apply that content. It's not necessarily the content that they need to learn. It's the process of being able to take that content and then apply it.
Well, one of the things when we first started our interview, as you said, what has changed?
Yeah, what's changed?
And so if I know how to learn, then I can adapt to all that change that's going on.
Wow.
And if I don't, I'm stuck there doing a typewriter.
So you're saying it honestly, change doesn't matter. It's not the change that matters. It's the ability to adapt to the change through knowing how to learn. I think that is a huge concept. I think that is something to chew on. So I'm going to shift a little bit more back. I'm going to ask one more softball question and we're going to start closing it up. So of all the places you've been, what is the one historical site that just is your favorite place in the world? Historical locations. Doesn't have to necessarily be historic. It could be like a park, a preserve, or something along that nature, a monument even. There's lots of options. But.
Well, since I'm here in the Southwest, I'll promote the Grand Canyon.
Grand Canyon. It's a big hole, Pepe.
I know.
Big hole.
Everybody that comes here wants to see it.
How about what about outside the Grand Canyon? Give me something else.
I'll give you something else. Historical. There are a lot of historical sites. Which one would be the best one? I don't know.
Which one did you enjoy the most? Or that you actually felt that inner...
I'm trying to think.
Yeah, no, take your time.
Because there's a lot of them. Does it have to be United States?
No. Anywhere in the world.
Anywhere in the world. The Opera House in Paris.
The Opera House in Paris.
That was really historic, and it was a really unique place.
That's the one with the roof. Oh yeah. Oh, man. Maybe I can dub some photos because that is just. Yeah, I think for at least the photo. I mean, it's comparable. It's comparable at the very least to Sistine Chapel. In person, it may even. I don't make judgments, but it's amazing. It really So now we're gonna shift back. Let's talk about your current endeavors. What are you doing nowadays?
Right now, pretty much doing this Center for Spiritual Living. I'm on the board there.
On the board, very nice.
I'm the vice president.
Vice president, again, like I said, a man of influence, a man of success, very much so.
I'm trying to make a difference in the community. Actually, we want to make a difference in the world. And of course, you start with the community, and you start with individuals first. Giving them the skills to be a better person, to, of course, help others.
Would you be able to elaborate a little bit on the Center for Spiritual Living? I've actually been there once. I sat through the service. It's I'll tell you, relaxation to the max. It's very the environment I went to is, of course, down towards Phoenix. Lady pastor, very very smart. The place is beautiful. Like I said, you walk in there, it's a sense of peace. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, as far as we go back to the teaching techniques, if you look at the structure of the way they do their presentation from an educational point, not only the spiritual, but an educational point, how it's laid out, it's got an excellent example of how students can learn.
Really?
Because they do parts that are all building of getting the students to meditate or relax, open up, music. It prepares them for the preacher's presentation, the summary at the end. The process or steps I'd have to go through and actually write them down. But it's got an excellent educational example.
I would say the flow. I think the flow is very sequential and natural. Like I know the meditation is the early part. It kind of puts you in the mindset of definitely, like I said, relaxation is the best thing I can even say. I went there and it's a great. I like the place.
Yeah, it's got a lot of different good educational concepts of it. But it's a spiritual place. It doesn't take a religion and put it on top.
Of course.
It looks at the bigger process.
Yeah.
It accepts all people.
That's important.
The philosophy is we are all one, and so it accepts all people.
I think it's important. Real quick, we are all one. I mean, like, I think right now in not just our country, in the world even, I mean, I think it's important to re-emphasize the fact of the human condition. I mean, we're all people, and I think a lot of times you can say, oh, well, that's those people, and it's easy to get mad and push people out. But I think that concept that if everybody could accept it, man, the world, you'd be a different place.
And so I think that's, we want for ourselves what we want for everybody.
Yeah.
And so it's a caring, open.
I like it. And it's by the writings of Ernest Holmes, correct?
Right. So his teachings doesn't say. Some of his writings have a lot to do with Christian because he came from a Christian background.
Of course, yeah. I mean, that's influential.
But in the writings, especially the early writings, but the philosophy is we light candles every Sunday. We light a candle for Christianity. We light a candle for Judaism. We light a candle for the Yavapai, Native Americans, and so forth. And so there's like 7 or 8 candles that we light. Buddhism. Anyway, the point is all those prophets, we consider them as prophets, basically go up to one plane. You can call that God, you can call that energy, you can call that power, you can call it whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But everything goes toward that. Not that the Catholics do this, or the Jews do that.
Yeah, it's all these different ends and
And
means.
they're all have their, we consider them as all prophets,
Okay.
and it goes to one. We all are one, or all wanting one. And you start looking at what they're, some of them are more stringent than others, but basically they all have a God, they all have a supreme being, they all have certain things in their religions.
Yeah, I think it's that is something just from a historical standpoint. You look at the way that religion has evolved over the years, and from early on. I mean, it was the worship of idols, many idols, and then one of the things that's happened through Judeo-Christian civilization, and even outside of it, is this switch to one God, this monotheism, where we don't, instead of polytheism, where we worship all these guys. You see all these religions, they're all becoming very monotheistic. It's one God. It's becoming more kind of boiled down, I guess, to some degree. For better or worse, I'm not saying.
When I was brought up, history, my parents were Catholic.
Yes.
And so I was brought up Catholic, but we were taught that there's only one religion, Catholic, and the rest.
Yes, very strict.
And the rest of the people are all bad. The Protestants. I mean, you could not even go into. If you had a friend that was Protestant, you couldn't go to their wedding. You couldn't go to wherever it was going on with their service. You couldn't even step foot in that church.
Wow.
Or you'd be in real deep trouble with the Catholics.
Wow.
Like excommunicated.
Has that loosened up a little bit in light of the scandals?
Yeah, it has loosened up a little bit.
Yeah.
Not quite 100%.
Yeah.
Because the Catholics are pretty stiff.
Pretty stringent.
They don't like you going places.
The new pope is he's pretty different from it. Like, so I grew up under John Paul, and my father was Christian, so he kind of respected the pope and believed he wasn't Catholic, but he believed in the importance of Catholicism in religion. So he was really a fan of Pope John Paul, and this new pope it's almost like a 180 from Pope John Paul. Pope John Paul is very, very strict, very business, down to business, and it seems like the new pope's kind of open. He's from Argentina, a little bit more flexible, for, like I said, for better or worse. History will tell, but I think it's just it's an interesting thing to see how the Catholic Church has almost been forced to change a lot of things because of some of the things it's experienced lately. I'm not going to get too much into that, but I know they've had some issues.
Uncle Ken, his wife, was married to some other guy, and earlier.
Yeah.
In time, and he used to beat her.
Wow.
Physical abuse. Was a real jerk. And so she got divorced, and after she got divorced, she had a hard time in Gallup area with the bishop,
The diocese or whatever.
And he excommunicated her.
Really?
Which really caused her a lot of stress in her life, and which probably contributed to her death.
Well, I mean, think about it. You have a religious center, and then you fully believe, especially if you fully believe it, and then you're literally forced out of your set of beliefs. That's traumatic. I can't imagine how traumatizing that can be. It's pretty terrible situation. But man, I didn't even realize how strict it used to be. I guess there's some egg on their face these days, but I'm not gonna get too much into what the Catholic Church has done and what they're going through. They get enough of it from other people. All right, so Excelments. What is Excelments?
What is Excelments? It's a learning strategy.
Learning strategy?
And it pulls a bunch of concepts together of trying to get students to take the responsibility for their own learning, to get them to trust, and work as a team to go in the same direction.
Okay.
So you want a unified class, believing hopefully in their own learning and when they're going, taking responsibility.
So this packet, I have the whole body,
Right.
This packet actually breaks it down, and it says it's got, so for instance, the core abilities, the approach, the environment, design, and methods. Again, man, I'm seeing a lot of stuff that's literally just being recycled into what I've most learned recently in the approach, right? How you know your content, how you're acting towards the students. The environment, is the class insane and you can't teach, or is it orderly and you can, it's structured? Design, I mean, I don't really know of course I may be oversimplifying these or
That's fine.
defining them, but it appears that it's very similar to what we currently got going on today. Of course, the multiple intelligences and things like that, but you want to expand a little bit on excellence for me?
Well, I've been to a class, I've been to a class with this concept, and I thought it was really, for me back then, enlightening, because it was meaningful to me.
Okay.
She got to me with some of the activities.
So you felt that it was impactful as an educator?
As an educator, it wanted me to look at some of the ways I can motivate students. And so we have, of course, you line everything out, but things like a simple little thing of music. I mean, everything looks tough to use.
Yes.
Like music, you can't just turn on the music and have music.
Yes.
There should be a purpose for the music, and it should be, there's a book that I have there, and it talks to you about what is your purpose and why are you playing this one. I mean, if you're trying to get them into the relaxation mode, you probably want to use something like Beethoven or something that's going to relax them, that jazz them up.
Yeah.
If you want them to do creative brain brain searches, or to do some problem solving, you put some different type music on. So you want to match the music to the activity you're doing, and you just can't put the music on and play it all through class. That doesn't work.
Oh no, yeah, it'd be bad.
That would just bring chaos or noise in their life. But the music should have a purpose.
Okay.
And if it doesn't, you should not use it.
And that would apply to like wall posters, for instance, even, right? I mean, like creating an environment that's conducive to learning.
Yes.
Okay. So, did you teach this?
Pardon?
You taught this, right?
No, I did not teach.
You did not. Okay.
I went as a student to learn. What's that?
I have this. I brought this as a surprise because I found this, and it says date 2/27/02. It says, Wilfred, I enjoyed talking to you today. Thank you for inspiring others on the path to excellence. I trust that your school will decide to bring excellence in, either in part or whole. Here's a resource list for getting the fun stuff for the classroom, Cheryl. But she really talks you up about your excellence in this, so I figured I'd bring that as a primary resource to take a look at that.
Well, this woman, Cheryl, what's her last name?
Hildebrand.
Hildebrand. She is a really super person. In fact, last time I saw her, she stopped at her house with her husband.
Oh wow!
Going through, not here, in Albuquerque, going through one of her trips, and stayed over a night or two. And we showed her in Albuquerque and stuff. I think she's from Minnesota.
Okay.
Minneapolis. But she is really big in it, and what I was trying to do is get teachers to start using excellence or the techniques to, and they can pick, you can pick what you want in it, but using some techniques to work with students and get them into the right learning mode or right stage. And she taught how to do it. In fact, I was trying to bring her in in fact, I was going to bring her to Mississippi.
Oh, wow.
That was one of the things, and do a big thing there. However, the university, prior to my getting there, brought somebody in there and gave them a one-day workshop, and they condensed a bunch of stuff in there about excellence in the teaching process.
Yes.
So when you do that, and people will do stuff like this,
Of course.
is they'll go out and capture information, bring it into a one-day workshop, and everybody thinks you learned it all.
Just repackage it.
Well, they dumped it.
Yeah. It's like repackaging without all the good stuff.
Yeah, and so, but did you learn it? Are you using it? Have you implemented it? Have you, and that's the part, that's the hard part of education, is to not just take information. And she's from the university that came in. She taught there, and she University of New Mexico.
Okay.
And so she came in and gave a workshop. I wasn't even there, but I saw the book. And so it's a lot of techniques, but those techniques need practice. They need implementation. Of course, we were talking earlier. It's not just a simple. Here's the workshop. I'm out of here now, and I get paid. I don't know, $500, $1,000, whatever.
Of course.
And so they're out of there and they make the money. But did they make the impact?
Yeah, did it actually work? Is it effective?
Well, I asked the faculty.
Yeah.
I talked to them, and I said, "Well, are you using it?" They pulled it off the shelf and they said, "Here, But no, the answer is no.
It's gonna sit on the
They
shelf.
didn't use anything.
Yeah.
It was a forced workshop. Right? Everybody had to attend. Everybody had to go through this training.
Yeah.
And I find that in education, if you don't pick a product and stay with it, like San Juan College, one of the things I did there was, I'm trying to think of the name, I had it, I lost it.
That's fine.
But it was a training program for learning. Okay. Or for the faculty and administration working together, and they didn't stick with it. It was like, when we went through and we got a team together and trained with that team, and then went out and taught everybody from the teachers, administration, the janitors.
This is all the way down. I mean, that's.
And we had it running for a while, and then after a couple of years, they said, "Well, we already did that. We did that." Well, okay, we did that.
Toss it out.
Yeah. You find that.
What was the main problem with switching? Of course, continuity is bad.
The problem is the real problem is that they that you didn't stay with it.
Yeah.
Sitting here jumping out at me. But if you don't stay with it.
Yeah.
Let me just look for a second.
Fine. Quick.
I guess my mind got tired.
Oh, you're fine.
But basically, when you get a strategy and philosophy and you're building it, you keep it going.
Okay.
Like an excellence, if you're going to call it that, or we want to call it, the university woman conference. But stay with it, implement it, work it. Just don't dump all that good information. One day is not going to make you a better teacher. All it's going to do is expose you to it. But you have to implement things and you have to do something with it.
There's a quote by Friedrich Nietzsche that says, "One virtue is better than two because at least you have something to anchor yourself to."
And I find that a lot of places don't have anything anchored.
Yeah, it's scattered, and that's not good. It creates anxiety for the staff and the students and everybody. But so I do want to move on because I think we're just about out of time.
Right.
Closing message. What do you have to say? I don't know if you want to scoot forward a little bit, so make sure we get you full shot in the camera. But so we're just got this one running right now. But if you can scoot forward just slightly,
My closing message, I have
or scoot forward a little bit more forward.
my closing message, I have a few pages here.
Okay.
How many pages is it? It's like 4 pages.
Hey man, that's
But I'm going to give it to you.
I'll take it.
And I'm going to, if you want, I don't even send it to you. But one of the things in my CSL, I have a CSL Center for Spiritual Living. I have a men's group that I go to.
Okay.
One of the things we do, we share some of our thinkings and we're looking at and support each other and so forth. And then at the end of that, we end up picking, and so I haven't chosen anything right now,
Of course.
but we do, and then we look at it and we say, okay, I think I want to do this one.
Okay.
And so we pick an area, and there's many different things, like assertiveness is one,
Okay.
caring, commitment, compassion, confidence, contentment, cooperation, courage, diligence, enthusiasm, forgiveness, gratitude / thankfulness, harmlessness, humility, integrity, joy, love, patience, peacefulness, responsibility, intentions, service, stability. And so I want to pick, and so,
Of course, yeah.
we pick one, and so I'm going to pick gratitude.
Gratitude.
And thankfulness is being grateful for all things. It is an attitude of gratitude for learning, loving, and being. It is appreciating the little things which happen around you and within you every day. It is having a sense of wonder about the beauty of the world. It is being aware of gifts being presented all around you. It is through form of harmony that defies gravity and rises to the highest. My affirmation is, I am thankful for the many gifts within me and around me today. I appreciate my life and all life. I look for the lessons and I expect the best. And then we all sit around and we say something, like they'll say my name or the person's name, and they'll say, I hear you, I support you, and I give you unconditional faith, trust, and love. And so one of these would call to, and they would read it, and it's kind of the wrapping up of what they did. You pick joy. I almost picked love. That can be very touching and stuff. But I've also got this on computer, which I can just pick it and get.
Yeah.
If you took one thing, you should go through and think about it. Of course, about caring. Some of the stuff is real insightful.
No, I like the thankful. I'm thankful you're here with me today. Thank you for doing this with me. I really do appreciate it.
You're welcome.
More than anything. Thank you.
And I appreciate you.